This is a story for Halloween. It's a British American folktale that you can find in Joseph Jacobs' book, More English Fairy Tales. I'm telling a softened version, not quite as bloody as the original, from a children's book by Simon Stern, The Hobyahs. Once upon a time, there was an old man and an old woman and a little girl and their little dog, Turpy, and they all lived together in a house made of turnips. But one night, the Hobyahs came and said, Hobyah, 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 tear down the turnip house, chase off the old man, chase off the old woman, put the little girl in the Hobyah bag. But little dog Turpy barked and barked and barked, and the Hobyahs were scared and ran off. But the old man in his bed woke up and said, Little dog Turpy barks so loud, I cannot sleep nor slumber. If I live till morning, I'll shut him up in the turnip box. And in the morning, the old man put little dog Turpy in the turnip box. But that night, the Hobyahs came again and said, Hobyah, 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 tear down the turnip house, chase off the old man, chase off the old woman, put the little girl in the Hobyah bag. But little dog Turpy wriggled and bounced and bumped and thumped and jumped right out of the turnip box. And then he barked and barked and barked, and the Hobyahs were scared and ran off. But the old man in his bed woke up and said, Little dog Turpy barks so loud, I cannot sleep nor slumber. If I live till morning, I'll shut him up in the turnip box and tie it round with turnip string. And in the morning, he shut up little dog Turpy in the turnip box and tied it round with turnip string. But that night, the Hobyahs came and said, Hobyah, 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 tear down the turnip house, chase off the old man, chase off the old woman, put the little girl in the Hobyah bag. And little dog Turpy wriggled and bounced and bumped and thumped, but he couldn't get out of the turnip box. And so the Hobyahs chased off the old man, chased off the old woman, and put the little girl in the Hobyah bag. And they took her off to the Hobyah hole, and they went down in the Hobyah hole and hung the Hobyah bag with the little girl in it on a peg on the wall, and every Hobyah knocked on the bag and said, Look me, look me, look me. And then they all curled up and went to sleep, for the Hobyahs slept in the daytime. But the old man and the old woman, running and running, stopped and said to each other, Where's our little girl? We must go back and find her. And little dog Turpy, inside the turnip box, was wriggling and bouncing and bumping and thumping until he broke the strings and jumped out of the turnip box. And he began sniffing and following the little girl's trail all the way down into the Hobyah hole. The Hobyahs were sleeping, but little dog Turpy pulled and tugged at the strings of the Hobyah bag until the little girl jumped out. They were so happy to see each other. And then the little girl held the Hobyah bag open, and little dog Turpy jumped inside, And the little girl hung the Hobyah bag with little dog Turpie on the peg on the wall, and she climbed back up out of the Hobyah hole and went off and found the old man and the old woman, and they were so happy. But when night fell, the Hobyahs woke up from their sleep and they went over to the Hobyah bag and they opened it up, and little dog Turpie jumped out of the Hobyah bag and ate them all up. So there are no Hobyahs now.